to TMZ Live. Donald Trump is in some trouble because the House Oversight Committee, the Democrats, have released a slew of emails. And when you put them all together, it looks like there is something that Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump knew about their relationship that Epstein was saying Trump did not want to get out.
Right. In fact, the way one of the emails that Jeffrey Epstein, an exchange he is having with Michael Wolff, the author, who wrote, of course, about Trump's first administration and was also trying to write a book about Jeffrey Epstein. But the two of them are having an email exchange in December of 2015. And this was right before there was going to be a CNN debate for the Republican candidates. And Michael Wolff says to Epstein, I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you. And Epstein responds, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? And Wolff responds, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. If it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. And that's a paraphrase of, there's a lot more that was said in that email, but that's the meat of it there where he says...
And the point is that if it's simply, yeah, we socialized together like a million other people did, you don't have to craft an answer. But what they're saying is that whatever Donald Trump would say would raise eyebrows. I mean, I think that's the only way you can look at it, to a point where they're saying you could actually blackmail him if he wins. I mean, they're essentially saying that.
But also, I think, isn't it interesting that Epstein is saying, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? Is he asking that because he actually thinks, let's come up with some ideas and I'm going to pitch them?
No, he thinks
Trump before the debate?
It looks to me like Michael Wolff had some inside information, perhaps, that somebody at CNN, which was holding the debate, would ask a question about Epstein. And if that was asked, and it was on Michael Wolff's radar, he told Epstein and said, we could either craft an answer or he could hang himself.
I agree with that, but I also think it's interesting that is Epstein asking because he actually can get a potential answer that they craft to Donald Trump at that point?
I think so. I think that's
exactly. Is he going to pick up the phone and call either Trump and say, here's what you should say if they ask?
That's exactly the point, that there seemed to be some access.
Because this was, again, December 2015. Jeffrey Epstein was out. He had been convicted in Florida, but he's out.
And there's more. And there's more.
Right. So there's that. And then there is, this is really interesting. In April of 2011, Jeffrey Epstein is emailing Ghislaine Maxwell and said, I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim's name redacted, spent hours at my house with him. Trump.
We know that's Virginia Giuffre.
Virginia Giuffre, right. Well, the White House says it's Virginia Giuffre. Right. He meaning Trump, has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. And then Ghislaine responds, I have been thinking about that.
So that then raises a question, and this, again, you said, 2011.
Right.
That they're saying the dog that hasn't barked. Now, I don't think this means that Donald Trump did anything untoward, because even Virginia said in her memoir that he didn't.
She had met with him, and he was always very pleasant and did nothing untoward.
But what it could mean, and what it seems to mean, to me at least, is he knows stuff. Right. And that dog hasn't barked. The dog not barking is Donald Trump. Barking is blowing the whistle. And then then you have Ghislaine Maxwell saying, yeah, I've been thinking about that too, as if
she knows it.
She knows that Donald Trump knows stuff about us or you, and it's been on my mind. That's a big statement.
It's huge. Going back to your point about whether or not he did anything untoward, I agree. There's nothing there's nothing about that. But according to Epstein, Donald Trump spent 4 hours with her, a underage victim, 4 hours at Epstein's house. And we know from the later correspondence that Ghislaine Maxwell says that Epstein says Trump knew about the young girls, knew what Epstein's predilections were. So Donald Trump, for 4 hours at Epstein's house, which is the first time we've ever heard that Donald Trump met one of the victims at Epstein's house, 4 hours with somebody he knows to be an underage victim of Epstein.
He knows to be underage. I think at that point, Virginia was not known to be a victim.
Well, no, but
like
going back to
2011?
Trump knew about it.
She made the claim after 2011.
Trump knew.
Yeah,
everybody knew about it.
Long
but
after, right.
Epstein had already been prosecuted once in 2008 for trafficking in underage girls. Trump knew who Epstein was, and in 2011 he's at Epstein's house with an underage girl. I'm not saying they did anything wrong.
I should say the Florida conviction was for prostitution.
Right.
Right, for solicitation.
Let's just cut to the chase. What it seems to be saying is that they seem to be saying Donald Trump knows a lot of stuff that we don't want him to necessarily talk about. And they even talk about police chiefs and what does, and remember,
what is that?
Donald Trump saying like, oh, I just, he was a creep at Mar-a-Lago and that's all I knew. Well, it seems like they're saying he knew a lot more.
Well, Epstein says, if he says he wasn't on my plane, we're going to hold that over him because we know that's a lie. This is the first time we've gotten
confirmation. Well, he's admitted he was on the plane going from New York to Mar-a-Lago.
New York to Mar-a-Lago, exactly. But I think the suggestion
I think this is more important.
House.
I think 2011 is more important because what they're saying is he knows about stuff we've done that could really get us in trouble. And I mean, that's the dog that didn't bark.
I wish there was someone what does that I'm 75% there mean?
Don't know what that means.
Yeah, he's obviously downplaying their relationship. It's evident that they were more than just friends, and him being a creep is like not the case. They have a relationship. We need to address the Epstein files. It just doesn't make sense to keep dragging this out.
Yeah, and believe me, at this point, I don't think his diversionary tactics are going to work. People want to know, and this is not going away.
No.
And I think they're getting tired of diversions.